Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1. You will hear a man talking to a receptionist at a hotel. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7.
Good evening, sir. Do you have a reservation?
Yes, let me just check I've got everything. Sorry. Yes, a reservation. It's in the name of Hartley, Martin Hartley.
Let me see. Oh, yes. Here it is. That's for 3 nights.
Yes, that's right. Do you need my passport?
I just need to take the number as a form of ID.
No problem.
Now, can I just ask you to fill in this registration form, please?
Actually, no. You see, I've broken my wrist.
Yes, I noticed that.
I'm afraid form filling is something I can't manage right now. Not without a lot of pain, anyway.
Oh, dear. I'm sorry, sir. But don't worry. I can complete the form for you.
That's very kind of you. What do you need to know?
Well, let's start with your name, of course. So that's Martin,
Hartley. That's Hartley.
Thanks. And your address?
45 Carlisle Way.
Could you spell Carlisle for me? Sorry.
It's Carlisle. You don't pronounce the S. Carlisle Way. And that's in Lewes. Lews.
And is there a state? I don't think you have states in the UK.
No, we have counties. It's East Sussex. Sussex is with double S. The postcode is LW4 6AU. Do you want my phone number?
Actually, no. We contact people by email now.
Ah, yes. And send me lots of advertising too, I suppose. My email is hartleynitram@yahoo.co.uk.
Sorry. A bit slower, please.
Hartley, my surname, then Martin backwards, NITRAM. That's all one word.
And all lowercase?
That's right, no capitals. At yahoo.co.uk.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hartley. And could you give me your passport now, please? Thanks. You can have that back now. And that's for 3 nights, so checking out on Sunday morning? OK. You're in room 16. That's on the first floor, overlooking the courtyard. Here's your key. Would you like somebody to take your bag?
Now you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10.
Do you have a map I can take?
Yes, of course. We've usually got lots of them here. Somewhere. Ah, yes. Here we are.
Thanks. Could you show me where we are exactly?
Let me have a look. Yes. This is our street here, Avenida Constitución. The bigger hotels are marked, so let me just see which one is us. Here. Yes, here. This is Hotel Columbus, just before you get to the museum. I say just before because that's the way most people get here. I mean, coming from the main square where all the buses stop, or from the station.
Yes, that's the way the taxi came in from the airport. I thought we drove past the museum, though, just after we went through that big square you mentioned.
Ah, you probably mean here. That's actually an art gallery. It's worth having a look round, but the museum's more interesting. I think so, anyway.
Thanks for the tip. I hope I get time. Right, well, tomorrow I've got to be at the conference centre. They told me they'd put me in a hotel that wasn't too far away.
Oh, yes. The conference centre's not too far at all. Let me see. Yes, down here. You can walk there in 7 or 8 minutes. Just cross over the road, go straight down this street here. That will take you towards the newer part of the city. Walk on for a couple of blocks, and then when you get here, you just have to go right a very short distance, and then you'll see the conference centre above the other buildings. It's quite big.
I see. That all looks quite straightforward. Thanks very much.
My pleasure. Have a nice evening, sir.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a man talking about areas for growing vegetables in towns called allotments. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14.
Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to see so many of you. I was going to start by saying that more and more people are seeing the value of growing their own fruit and vegetables, but now I don't need to. First of all, let me say that whether you have a garden or not, there are all sorts of benefits to having a plot of land you can call your own, and it will give you a great sense of satisfaction. OK, let's assume you have a garden. Chances are it's small. Most gardens in cities are hardly big enough for a few pots of herbs and a couple of rows of beans. Now that's where allotments come in. A typical plot is around 250 square metres. Big enough to feed the family for a year. Big enough, too, to grow a whole range of vegetables, fruit as well, perhaps, not just cabbages and potatoes. Moving on to the social aspects of an allotment. How many people can say their garden is a meeting place? You might chat with your next-door neighbour every now and again, but allotments are notorious communal hives. There are usually between 10 and 30 plots on any allotment site, and they bring together people from all sorts of social backgrounds. Where else do you find a lawyer deep in conversation with a lorry driver? There's often a great sense of camaraderie, with initiatives to involve the wider community, including the less able, the retired, and the unemployed. In urban areas nowadays, people may have a tiny yard or a balcony, but it's not a garden. An allotment is a huge recreational asset for anyone in that situation. First of all, there's the exercise. Renting an allotment costs around £30 a month. That's generally a lot cheaper than joining a gym. Then there's the involvement with nature. Watching seeds grow into mature plants gives so much pleasure and such a sense of achievement. Spending time outside in the fresh air boosts our mental as well as physical well-being. And one more thing. Don't forget allotments are also an enormous benefit to the environment. They provide invaluable green space in our ever more clogged-up towns and cities, making them more sustainable and appealing to live in. These spaces provide a habitat for wild plants, birds, insects, and occasionally bigger animals. What's more, locally grown food doesn't have to be transported long distances, and that helps to reduce road traffic and hence pollution.
Now you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20.
Now, food. A subject we all like talking about, because the main appeal of an allotment is obviously taking home all the freshly picked vegetables and fruit. So why is Grow Your Own so good? Well, to start with, there's the superior flavour. Food you've grown yourself tastes infinitely better than anything bought in the supermarket because it will be super fresh. Another point in its favour is the range. These days, gardeners are growing an amazing variety of vegetables on their allotments. Finally, there's the bonus of knowing that the produce you've grown is organic. You know that what you're eating wasn't grown on an industrial-scale farm or sprayed with large amounts of pesticides. Now I'm going to show you a typical allotment from the site closest to here on Finley Road. Let me just get this image up. That's it. Can everyone see? So, as you can see here, each plot has a fence around it and its own gate. Between the beds are grass walkways. That means you can walk in and around comfortably and not get your boots too muddy. There are soil beds on either side. This plot, in fact, has two smaller flower beds opposite a much larger area for vegetables. And there's also a glass house for growing tomatoes or anything that needs more warmth and protection. Here you can see one of those at the front near the gate. Most allotments have their own shed at the far end, as you can see. Allotments do need a water source, though, and there are stone sinks outside the sheds. A hose pipe can be attached to the tap for easy watering. Some of the plots have a pond, though they're not always popular as they tend to attract insects. And this plot has a compost bin at the end opposite the shed for recycling organic waste. Right, so, how to go about getting an allotment?
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will now hear a conversation between a university professor and a student about the essential characteristics and differentiating features of a literary review. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now, listen to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hello. Good morning, Anna. How are you, and how is that literary review coming along? Are you still working on it?
Hello, sir. I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Yes, I'm still working on it, and that's why I'm here. I'd like to talk to you about it. I'm drawing a blank on how to get started. Well, maybe you could suggest something to get me going.
Certainly. You do know that you must write a literary review. Have you ever written one, and do you have any idea on how you plan to go about it?
Well, I know it's a literary review, but I don't really know what it really is or how to go about it. I've written one before. I would imagine that, well, you take a book such as a novel or a book of poetry, settle into an easy chair and then read it. Once you've finished it, you either give it thumbs up or thumbs down. Isn't that how a literary review is done, right?
Actually, no, that's not how it's done, and that's just too simple. Also, that doesn't really mean anything. If you really like a book or dislike it, you should be able to state why you like or dislike it. You might also find that there are parts of a book that you like, but overall you might dislike it, and vice versa. Now, the nature of a literature review refers to any collection of materials on a particular topic, and not necessarily the great literary texts of the world. Now, what am I talking about here? Literature in and of itself could be anything from a set of government pamphlets on the colonial methods of the British in Africa to scholarly articles on the treatment of a torn ligament. It could also entail fiction, prose, or anything in between. Furthermore, when you write a review, it does not mean that your reader wants you to give your personal opinion on whether or not you like the book or text.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen to the second part of the discussion and answer questions 26 to 30.
So what is a literary review?
A literature review discusses published information in a particular subject area and sometimes information of a particular subject area within a certain time period. A literature review can be just a simple summary of the source, but it usually has an organizational pattern and combines both summary and synthesis.
Okay, but how is a literature review different from an academic research paper?
The main focus of an academic research paper is to develop a new argument. A research paper will contain a literature review as one of its parts. In a research paper, you use the literature as a foundation and as support for a new insight that you might contribute. The focus of a literature review, however, is to summarize and synthesize the arguments and ideas of others without adding your own contributions.
Okay, I see. I wonder about the purpose of writing a literature review.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's exactly what I wanted to talk about next. You see, literature reviews provide you with a handy guide to a particular topic. If you have limited time to conduct research, Literature reviews can give you an overview or act as a stepping stone. For professionals, they are useful reports that keep them up to date with what is current in their field. For scholars, the depth and breadth of the literature review emphasizes the credibility of the writer in his or her field. Literature reviews also provide a solid background for a research paper's investigation. Comprehensive knowledge of the literature of the field is essential to most research papers.
But I'm just curious about who writes these.
Literature reviews are written occasionally in the humanities, but mostly in the sciences and social sciences. Within experiments and lab reports, they constitute a section of the paper. Sometimes a literature review is written as a paper in itself.
Well, I think it is now going to be easier for me to write the review.
Good, but don't forget that you have to submit it by the end of the class on Monday.
I'll be sure to do that. Thank you for your help.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Now listen to part of a classroom lecture on geographical and related characteristics of Greece and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, students. Today, we're going to continue our discussion of European countries. As you know, we've already covered the countries from Northern and Central Europe, as well as most of the ones that lie along the Mediterranean. Today, I'm going to talk about Greece. As you know, it is an ancient birthplace of one of the most predominant civilizations to exercise early influence on much of the Western world. Now, when you think of Greece, you think of its antiquity and ancient civilization. You think of Alexander the Great, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and all the great philosophers. You think of the Trojan War, the ancient Greek gods, and everything in between. Out of all the European countries we have discussed, Greece is perhaps the richest country in terms of culture and contributions to our modern society, more so than the Romans, for the Romans took much of what was Greek and repainted in a Roman fashion. Greece has been known since ancient times and is located in southern Europe, specifically southeastern Europe. Athens is the capital of this country, and it is located in the southwest of the mainland. It is also, of course, one of Greece's largest cities. Greece is situated at the intersection of 3 continents: Europe, Western Asia, and Africa. It is bordered by Albania in the northwest, Macedonia and Bulgaria to the north, and Turkey to the northeast. The Aegean Sea surrounds the east of the mainland. The Ionian Sea is to the west, the Mediterranean Sea is to the south, and the Adriatic lies in the northwest.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions
Greece has the largest coastline of all the countries of Europe and is the 11th longest in the world because of its large number of islands. Greece contains a mountainous peninsular mainland with a land boundary of 1,168 kilometers. Greece has many islands, totaling around 6,000. There are 230 that are inhabited. The climate of Greece is classified into 3 types: Mediterranean, Alpine, and temperate. The temperatures in the Mediterranean rarely reach extremes, and at times there is sparse snowfall in some areas. The temperature climate is mainly marked by cold, damp winters and hot, dry summers. One of the most prominent geographical features of Greece is the mountain range. Greece is among a small number of countries that feature a large number of mountains within their territories. Mount Olympus is the highest peak and has been believed to be the abode of the 12 Olympian gods of ancient Greece. It is the 4th tallest peak in Europe and rises approximately 3,000 meters above sea level. The Pindus mountain range runs from the northwest to southeast and is further extended to the Peloponnese range. The Pindus range also runs underwater and crosses the Aegean Sea to form the Aegean Islands. The largest of these islands, the island of Crete, is controlled by Greece. Greece also has a large number of islands and islets that lie in the Aegean Sea. The largest island, Crete, extends 250 kilometers from east to west and is 55 kilometers in width at its widest point. It is approximately 150 kilometers south of mainland Greece. The Ionian Islands are a different cluster of 7 different islands, 6 of which lie off the western coast. The 7th lies off the southern tip of the Peloponnesian Mountains. The Aegean Islands fill the Aegean Sea in an area that spans between mainland Greece to the west and north, Anatolia to the east, and Crete to the south. While much of the climate of Greece is predominantly Mediterranean, the Pindus mountain range divides the country so that the climate is much wetter in the west and drier and windier in the east, particularly during the summers. The northern areas have a transitional climate, while other areas have an alpine climate. The average annual temperature varies between 10 to 19.7 degrees Celsius. The winds in Greece are colloquially known as the Meltemi, but they are better known by the name Etesians. These are prominent in the Greek mainland from the mid-summers to early winter. They keep the temperatures on the islands of the Aegean lower than those in the Ionian Sea.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.